Have you ever heard the phrase, "the devil made me do it"? For most of us, it's just a joke, a way to shrug off a minor misdeed. But what if someone used it as a defense, for murder? Today, we're diving into the terrifying true story that inspired The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, a case that pushed the American legal system to its absolute limits. This is the trial of Arne Cheyenne Johnson. Our story begins not with a crime, but with a child's terror. It's 1980 in Brookfield, Connecticut. The Glatzel family is looking forward to moving into a new rental property. 11-year-old David Glatzel is helping his older sister Debbie and her fiancé, 19-year-old Arne Johnson, clean the place up. But something feels wrong. David starts talking about an old man, a terrifying figure with black eyes, charred skin, and horns, who keeps appearing to him. He says this old man threatened to steal his soul. At first, his family dismisses it as a child's overactive imagination, but David's behavior becomes increasingly erratic and violent. He speaks in guttural, unnatural voices, recites passages from the Bible and Paradise Lost, and claims to see a beast-like creature stalking him. He suffers convulsions and displays strength far beyond that of a normal 11-year-old boy. Desperate, the Glatzel family turns to their local church, which eventually puts them in touch with the most famous paranormal investigators of the time, Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens arrive and immediately conclude that David is under demonic attack. They arrange for a series of exorcisms sanctioned by the Catholic Church to try and free the boy. These rituals are intense, chaotic events. According to witnesses, David would levitate, spit, curse, and physically attack those around him. Arne Johnson, deeply in love with Debbie and fiercely protective of her little brother, is present for every single one. During one particularly violent exorcism, seeing the torment David is enduring, Arne does something unthinkable. He confronts the entity directly. He taunts it, shouting, "Take me on! Leave the little boy alone!" Days and weeks pass. David's condition seems to improve, but a shadow has fallen over Arne. Debbie notices a change in him. He starts falling into trance-like states, staring blankly into space. He growls like an animal and claims to see the same beast that tormented David. Lorraine Warren, using her clairvoyant abilities, warns the family. She tells the local police that tragedy is imminent, that the demon has found a new host in Arne, and something terrible is about to happen. Her warnings, tragically, go unheeded. The dark premonition comes to pass on February 16, 1981. Arne and Debbie are having lunch with Debbie's cousin and their landlord, a 40-year-old man named Alan Bono. By all accounts, Bono had been drinking heavily throughout the day. An argument breaks out. Things escalate when Bono, intoxicated and agitated, grabs Debbie's young cousin, refusing to let her go. Arne steps in. But this isn't the calm, gentle Arne that everyone knows. Witnesses describe him making a deep, guttural growling sound, like an animal. He pulls out a 5-inch pocket knife and lunges at Bono, stabbing him again and again and again. Bono is left dying in a pool of his own blood. When the police arrive, they find Arne walking aimlessly about a mile from the scene. He is dazed and confused. He later tells them he has absolutely no memory of the attack. He doesn't remember the argument, the knife, or the murder. It's as if he was a passenger in his own body, watching a horror movie unfold. Arne Cheyenne Johnson is arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The stage is now set for one of the most bizarre legal battles in American history. Facing a life sentence, Arne's legal team, led by a bold attorney named Martin Minella, decides on a radical defense strategy. They aren't going to argue insanity or self-defense in the traditional sense. Instead, they plan to argue that Arne Johnson was not responsible for his actions because he was possessed by a demon. This would be the first time in a U.S. court that a lawyer would try to prove a defendant's innocence based on demonic possession. The "devil made me do it" defense was born. The media explodes. The case becomes an international sensation. Ed and Lorraine Warren are front and center, ready to testify about the exorcisms, David's possession, and their belief that the demon migrated from the boy to Arne. However, the trial judge, Robert Callahan, is not impressed. He quickly rules that such a defense is impossible to prove and has no place in a court of law. How could a jury possibly verify the existence of a demon? There was no scientific or legal precedent. The judge flatly states, "It's unprovable and irrelevant." With their primary defense thrown out the window, Minella has to pivot. He switches tactics, arguing that Arne acted in self-defense, protecting Debbie and her cousin from an aggressive and intoxicated Alan Bono. The jury never gets to hear about demons or exorcisms. They are presented with a much more straightforward and much less supernatural case. In the end, they deliberate for 15 hours. Arne Johnson is found not guilty of murder, but he is convicted of a lesser charge, first-degree manslaughter. In December 1981, he is sentenced to serve 10 to 20 years in prison. His sensational defense, the one that captured the world's attention, had failed. But the story doesn't end there. In a surprising turn of events, Arne only serves about 5 years of his sentence. He's released early for good behavior. While still behind bars, he marries his fiancée, Debbie Glatzel, the woman he had fought so hard, perhaps even against hell itself, to protect. After his release, the couple lived a quiet, private life, and Arne was never in trouble with the law again. They remained together until Debbie's passing from cancer, always maintaining that their story of demonic possession was true. Of course, the case has always been shrouded in controversy and skepticism. The Warrens were the main proponents of the possession theory, but there was never any independent medical or scientific evidence to back it up. In later years, David Glatzel's own brother, Carl, came forward to say the whole story was a hoax, fabricated by his family and the Warrens for fame and fortune. He claimed David was suffering from mental health issues, not demonic possession, and that the Warrens exploited their family's crisis. The Catholic Church itself never officially recognized the possession, despite allowing the initial exorcisms. Was it a genuine paranormal event, a cry for help from a family dealing with mental illness, or a calculated lie? The truth remains buried under decades of conflicting stories. Regardless of what you believe, the cultural impact of this case is undeniable. It became the basis for the 2021 blockbuster The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, bringing the story to a new generation. More recently, the 2023 Netflix documentary The Devil on Trial revisited the case, featuring original audio recordings from David's exorcisms and interviews with the people who lived through it, including Arne Johnson himself. It remains one of the most fascinating and debated cases in the intersection of law, religion, and the paranormal. So what do you think? Was Arne Johnson a victim of a demonic entity, forced to commit a horrible act against his will? Or was this a tragic case of violence and a desperate, unbelievable excuse? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strange and terrifying, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the dark side of history. Stay safe out there.